Awesome, awesome. Hello, everyone. Richard Carlton here. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training. We're here with Nick Hunter. Nick Hunter, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Nick is here. It's another awesome FileMaker day. So I'm creator of FMTrain.tv, where we put together the finest daily live stream training that's available. And so that would also mean we make the worst daily live stream training available and the most amazing, awesome live stream training available, because this is the only daily live stream training that's available. So anyway, welcome everyone to an awesome Monday. We are here to have a great time and to learn something along the way. Why? Because the FileMaker platform is awesome. It is truly an awesome platform. Real quick, upcoming broadcast schedule. I'm going to pop it over the top of Nick's head. So we got Nick today, we got Nick tomorrow, then we got 3 days of Christian and the Wolfpack. So the plan is for Christian and the Wolfpack is that we will be showing you the Wolfpack. In fact, it's funny because the Wolfpack, we're putting it together and we have a bunch of FileMaker people who are not really design people, and they're like, you know, this kind of sucks graphically. What should we do? Oh, I know. Nick works for the company. We'll call Nick. So they called Nick, and Nick's like, oh, this is an abomination. It's mandatory that I fix this immediately. So he goes off and fixes this. So, in fact, it was such an educational moment that we're going to schedule. It's called the 1 day makeover. When you've got 1 hour, the 1 hour makeover, right? Can you fix an ugly interface in 1 hour? That will be the question. So that's for down the road, but they've cleaned up this interface, and so this is the Wolfpack. It's an accessory of add-ons that you can take. It's free. There's no charge. So those of you who complain that it doesn't meet your needs or doesn't meet your expectations, we'll be happy to refund your investment. So and then the following week, Nick is going to get into double secret empowering your search. That's a reference to Animal House. So double secret probation, right, Nick? So very exciting. So that's the upcoming schedule. If you want to, during the broadcast, some of you will ask questions. Amco asks these questions. People ask these questions. And a lot of times I have the answers to your question, but I can't like just rip it out in 60 seconds when I have on the broadcast. So what we do is we will tell you where to go into our training to find it. And so what am I talking about? If you go to our training at fmtraining.tv, this is the live schedule here. You can see these courses that we have in here. We don't sell the individual courses anymore because there's just too many of them. So we put them all together in a bundle, and you can buy the bundles pretty inexpensively. But a lot of times people say, how do I do anchor buoy, or how do I do a Cartesian join, or how do I sort a portal with a filter with a backflip with SQL without using JSON so Kyle doesn't get mad at me? And you ask me these questions. We have videos on this, and so it's easier for me to send you to the video number. It's a 4-digit number I will send you. It's in the video course. I'll say, go watch video 1135 and 1136 or something, right? And so you'll see me reference that. So in order for me to help you, you do need to have our training. If you don't have our training, then you only get what we can do within the 1 hour period, right? So otherwise, if you have the training, which is a really good deal, right, Megan? It's like, yeah, Megan's like, whoa, it's a really good deal. Then what happens is that I can answer your questions during 1 hour and then also direct you to where you can learn the missing things that you don't know right now, right? Where to go find it, right? Because you can't learn the FileMaker, despite what the management at Claris thinks, you cannot learn the FileMaker platform in 1 hour. It just doesn't work that way. So, all right, Nick, are you ready to go? Are you prepared? Are you fully?
I am ready to go.
Are you psyched? Are you stoked?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
All right, so what are we doing today, Nick?
Okay, today we do perform script on server.
I thought we stop. I thought no. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to intervene again. I'm sorry. This can't. I'm moving you off the screen. We're canceling Nick today.
We don't cancel. No, don't cancel.
Don't cancel you. Okay. Bring you back. All right. So
back. Okay. Today is transfer of fund set, which is that's why I got confused. Which is the continuity of the perform script on server. Because you cannot do a decent transfer of fund set if you don't know how to do a perform script on server. Okay, so because there's no points very much to do a transfer of fund set to use that technique locally. That means if you need to do that on the local machine, to use that technique doesn't make sense because the gain of performance will be minimum. In certain cases, it could be advantages, but most of the case, I will argue, say, okay, hey, if you have to use transfer of font set, let's use it on the server instead of trying to save you from this and do it locally. Okay, so let's start a little bit here and see what we are talking about here. Okay, so let's share the screen, remove this stuff. Okay, so what are we talking about? So first of all, we need to define what a font set is. I mean, I know it's kind of far, but I need to go back there to make sure that people understand what it is. This is a font set. I'm going here and I'm saying I want everything that is active. Okay, so I have a font set out of 5,010 records. I have 1,712 active. Okay, this is a font set. Now, see, I have a window here. And then I can open a new window. And doing this, you see that you land with the same font set. I mean, the new window will have the same font set. But now, let's say I want to search for everything that is advertising. I have 339 records here. So now I have two windows and I have two font sets. And I can continue like this and on and on and on. Now I open a new window with that font set, right? And I can change it and say, okay, I want Santa Clara, right? So now I have three font sets. So what is difficult to do is to transfer a font set to one set to another. You know what I mean? That means I start with this. Let's say I want to transfer this 541 record. I want to transfer in this one, replace the 1,712 and put the 541. You have no way but to redo the search, right? If you want to do that, you just need to come here and say you want people in Santa Clara. You have to do the. Again, you need to do the font set, to search again. So now, this is what we call a font set. So I hope that this has been defined, and we can move on this. Okay. So the font set is this. So now, what we want to achieve here. Okay. Let's say we want to do a search, right? We want to, because a font set is the result of a search, can be a perform find, can be a find, can be a quick find, can be, okay, everything you can search, okay? That is what we call a font set. Okay? So what we want to do, we want to create a font set, whatever it is, search, whatever. We want to search record and create a font set in one machine, and then take it back from that machine to another one. That means, let's say you have Paul and Peter working on the same network, right? Paul is making the search and want to transfer the search to Peter, right? That's what we want to do pretty much. So until FileMaker 13, this was, pain in the where to do. It was difficult. It was hard. It was doable, but difficult to do. Now we have something that saved everything and unlocked this technique to everybody. Is the summary field list off. Okay, so now I need to define what this is. Okay, what list off is? Okay, it's a summary type of field. So you have different type on summary. You have total off or average, count, minimum, maximum, standard, fraction, that for accounting, So it works. So all summaries, all of those, they work along two things, They are affected by the sort order and by the search, by the font set demonstration. Let's say I have here a field. I'm pointing to a list of, okay, account name, for example. So this is the account name I have. This is a list of the account name. So what is this list of account name? Those are the 541 record I have here. They're here, okay? So let's demonstrate with something smaller, okay? Then you can understand. Okay, so let's say I do this, this, and this, and this, and this, okay. So now I have a smaller file set. I have 8 records. So now you can see I have those 8 records. And as you can see also here, those are my 8 records, right? If I remove one from here, if I remove Donek from here, so I have 7 now, you will see that Donek is no longer here. And now I have 7, 3, 3, and 1, okay? Not only this, but you just see here that they are sorted by they are sorted in the sort order. They present the sort. That means the sort order of this matches this, they're all together. Demonstration. Let's say I'm sorting by another sort order. I'm sorting by department, for example. You will see now what's the name? Oh, the sort order change. And this is changed also because the summaries are tied to, they are affected by the font set and the sort order, okay? All summaries, total, counts, maximum, minimum, this is how it works, okay? So now you understand something here, that I can gather instantly a list of values based on the font set, based on what I searched. Let's say, I want, for example, people in Fairfield, for example. I search for those people. Bam. Those are the people in Fairfield. They're 574, and they're here. This is a list of people I have. Now, I don't want the list of people. What I want is the list of IDs. This is what I want. I want the list of IDs. I search for something, okay? I search for something. And then I want to be able to gather that list and do something with this after, okay? So, demonstration. What I want to do now, I want to search something. So I just did, I searched something. And I want, see here, I have one window here with my search, with my 574, right? And I want to transfer the font set here, okay? So, how you do that? You take your, the account, what's the name? The account list, the account ID list, okay? Sorry. You copy this, copy, and then you paste this in a field that I named here for the demo. I named this field link transfer IDs. So what this is doing, okay? What is this field? Let's do this. Okay. What is this field? It's a global field, okay? And this field will be used as a primary key in the future. But first, I want you to see what I'm doing here. So, hold on, because I already did a demo. That's why I tried it. So I need to clear. So let's clear this, okay? I clear. I paste the list of my 500 people, okay? The lists that I found here, the 574, the list of ID that the list of summary field returned to me based on this found set, I place it in this global, okay? This global, sorry for the mess. I'm going to clean up this before
it's fine. It's fine. I'm going to help you here in a second. You're doing great, Nick. This is good.
Okay. So here, this field here is used in a relationship between two tables, between two occurrences. Account and account. The same. They're both pointing to the same table. And I explained multiple times that this is possible, and this is a great example of how this is possible. Okay? So what you do here, you have the account. You start with the account where you put the list of IDs in that field, the transfer IDs, and then this is linked. Or where you put all the IDs, you link this to the account ID primary key in the other occurrence, which is the same table. So pretty much what you say here, you say, okay, you know what, Draco, Miss Draco, Mr. McKill, Clay, thank you. Can you get me all the records matching all the IDs I put in that field? That means it will give you all the accounts matching this. Sure. So, right. So pretty much that is what it was doing. So now what you have, you need a script. Go to related record, okay? And this script, what this script is doing, go to related record, okay? Using account transfer of fund set. Remember, this is a link I created for the occasion. Yeah, this account transfer. Okay, so you use this one. You use the current layout because you are in the layout. You are starting from account to account, and the current layout is in account. So you don't need to go to another layout. You can stay there, and of course you don't forget to say show only related record. That means show me the records all the records that I put the IDs, the list of ID in the global, and get me all the records matching this. Okay. And then when you play this, look what happens. I have 5,000 records here. I don't have any fund set here. I have all of them. I have a full set here. Now, if I'm doing this, and I started with 574 here, now, if I play this script, hear what happened. Oh, I am in the wrong. Hear what happened. Bam. I have 574 records, and I didn't perform a find. I did perform the find before in another window, in another machine, in another dimension, in another galaxy. Okay, and then I transferred it from that galaxy. I transferred it back to me. Right?
Okay. Yep. So, can you show the relational diagram real quick, Nick? I have a question.
Sure.
So Bilbo has a question. It's kind of like a fragmented question. It says, question, when do you name a field? Okay, so here's the important thing to understand. The name of the field doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It's a name that helps us. I'm gonna wave my hands here a little bit, but it's a name that helps us understand what we're looking for. So Nick does primary keys with the underscore underneath. I don't particularly do that. I normally put ID, and so all mine are by ID, but putting underscore has caused them to sort to the top, which is great, but the name doesn't matter. The point is that on your client computer, you're going to generate this summary list. Then you're going to shoot that list to the server. The server is going to pick up the list, right? And that's what Nick's about to show this. And it's going to stick it in that field and then run the GTRR. And then suddenly the server has the same found set. Because remember, the server, when you call a PSOS on server, it doesn't have any context. It's like a brand new baby that woke up. It's a brand new computer that's been formatted hard drive. It doesn't know nothing. It doesn't know who you are, what you were doing. It knows nothing. And so you have to kind of educate it and to bring it up to speed. And that's what we're doing. And it's really a very clever technique. I like it a lot. So, so NetLobster says, I assume there's a good way to pass the found set to the server. Yeah, you just pass it in the parameter, right? Ellen knows this, right? If you pass that.
But I'm going to demonstrate that.
Yeah.
That the purpose of this session.
Right, that's the whole point. Yeah, Ellen's jumping ahead as a naming convention. Yeah, so you could do that. Underscore link underscore triple X, right, or whatever. Naming conventions, I try not to get too Anal would be the term that, an English slang term I would use. I try not to be too obsessive about the naming conventions. I try to provide them to my team. I don't enforce them with a whip, right? I generally hope that the engineer will have a naming convention. Do they have to use every little part? No, but it's generally that they have something, so they have something to follow behind,
Yeah.
right?
So here, if you want, if you want to, I totally agree what you say. I don't really agree with what Net Lobster just said.
The conventions are very personal.
Yeah, it is personal and it is not. Now, let me explain. You have different case scenario here. If the solution is for yourself and only yourself and by yourself, yeah, you can name, the name of your pets, whatever. It's it doesn't matter. Then when you have many, when you are a developer like myself, I take my example, okay, and I work on Scott and Debbie's, and soon I'm going to work for Andy, and I'm going to work for Felix, and I'm going to work for, okay. So all the people I work for, I have the same naming convention all over the place. It's the same. I have a kind of a consistency for what I'm doing. Within the same file, I use always the same convention, the same type of naming always. First of all, because it's simple for me to recognize, and then when you have the same naming all over the place, and when even sometimes I'm named I copy paste the fields, and I don't even rename them, because I keep the name extremely kind of a universal that I said. Okay, so that means I can copy the fields, copy the table, copy the script, copy the function, copy the calculation, and bam, they work immediately. I don't need to rework for hours, because I keep consistency between files. Like when I build this, you will see I picked a script from Scott, and I picked a script from Debbie, and I picked a script from somebody else, and boom, they work immediately. Why? Because the name I'm using are the same, right? So it is important. And then you have the other case scenario where you work within a group. You work with different developers. You work with many developers, and everybody cannot have his style. Otherwise, it's the anarchy. So you need to come with kind of a standard where then everybody can retrieve their babies. Otherwise, it's the anarchy. And at the end of the day, you end up having duplicate, triplicates, quadruplicates, because I name underscore name first. Oh no, I name F underscore name. Oh no, I name underscore name underscore first. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, and they don't appear, one appear at N, one appears at F, the other one appear on top because you have the underscore. Look, at the end of the day, you end up having 5 or 6 times the same field, and then you have bugs and stuff like that. So that's why the naming convention is important. I hope I have been clear.
Then looks like Nick just posted the video on naming standards and conventions, and we have a PDF file in there that's part of that. Once again, these are our suggestions. They're not necessarily written in blood, and maybe you don't necessarily.
Those are what we call good practices. Then you take whatever you want out of it. You know what I mean? It's like you can have your style, you can have your feelings, you can add whatever you want. It's like you learn to play music, and then you can play the way you want, right? You know what I mean? It's like
sure.
It's not written in the marble. It's not the tablets from Moses, right? It's not. Okay, so now when we understand now how FileMaker relationship are working. We know that, we understand how it works. We have so you can put in one field, you can put many values, and then Draco, FileMaker, the schema, whatever, the relationship will gather the record for you. So the combination of the list of new summary field and this technique of putting that in a global and then using go-to records to create a font set instead of searching, okay, it's a great combination. So and that is for our friend Kyle. SQL is uniquely and pretty much rely on the list of summary to work. This is why we have SQL on FileMaker, is because of the list. Pretty much, if you use list of summary field, you are doing SQL. Pretty much, it's what SQL use. So now what we can do. So now how we can merge that technique with the perform script on server we learned last week, right? So pretty much what I want to do here, okay, I want to tell FileMaker, I'm putting something here, I type something here, blah, okay, and I want, I'm not doing it, but I want FileMaker to go to the account layout, right? This account layout, remember I told you, use a dedicated account, what's the name, use a dedicated use a dedicated layout for what you want to do. Don't use the data entry one. Okay, so I have a layout here that I'm going to use for search. So I'm going to say to the server, go to this layout, okay, do a quick find. So pretty much look into this field, this field, this field, this field, and this field. So I'm going to look, my search will going to look in those fields. And let's say, for example, you want to find, for example, Skywalker, okay? For example, bam. I'm going to ask FileMaker to do that for me. The server, I'm going to ask the server to do that. And then to return the list of, right? To return the list of, which is here, of the 1,700 records that are here, okay? Return the list of, and then, okay, show me all the account with that, with that name, okay? So here how it works. You have two things. Remember, I told you that you cannot perform a script directly, perform script on server directly. A perform script on server can be performed from a script. That means this script will be run locally, and this one will be performed on server. Okay, so I perform the script on server. I perform the script I want on server, and I send a parameter. Parameter will be pretty much whatever I type in this field. That will be the parameter. The content of this field will be the parameter, okay? Remember last week, I told you that this option wait for completion off and on. If you do off, there's no way you can get the results. To get a result out of this, you need to have this on. Let's talk.
Mostly, yeah. Right? You understand that's mostly, right? So, I mean...
No, you need to. For this technique, if you say off, it will never work. Never.
Yeah, you'd have to go back and get the results from a stored location somewhere else after the server was complete.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, okay. Well, you go.
Right. I mean, that's more of it. Maybe we do that. Talk about that tomorrow, or whatever. But the point is, yeah, that's the whole idea. So yeah.
Yeah, I never use that technique of storing in a record over there in server because I don't see the benefits.
Well, that's what we showed last week with that chart, right? Remember we were doing that the chart. It would run offline, and the chart processes the results on the server.
Oh, that's different.
Okay.
That's completely different because a chart is, no.
Okay.
No, chart I understand, but here there's absolutely no benefits.
Okay.
I mean, we can try, but there's no benefits at all to do that here because we use what's the name? We use go to read a record, which is super fast. There's no intermediate kind of calculation like the chart engine in FileMaker is a piece of garbage.
Right.
Anyway. So here in this technique here, you need to have this on. So what does script do? It gets the search criteria from the script parameters. So pretty much I send to the server whatever I typed here. It go to the contact layout. It performs a quick find. If there's no errors, if there's an error, I say, stop it. I'm doing that always. So here it doesn't really matter, but I like to do that anyway because it's my style. It's I like to stop it immediately. I don't even have this happening, and because the problem is, if you don't do that, it might send you all the IDs, right? So I think you need that, by the way. So anyway, if there's an error, stop everything. On server, if you have the risk of an error, you stop everything. You don't take the risk. So you stop everything if there's nothing. I mean, if there's an error. If not, you exit script, and you see here, I am sending in the result of the exit script, I'm sending the results of my summary field list of account ID. So let's say I found 200 records. This will be the list of the 200 IDs that I found. Okay. So pretty much, a 6-year-old is capable of understanding these scripts. Okay. So very simple. So the script I perform the script. I get, if there's an error here, that means if the script returns any kind of error, that means something wrong happening. That means more likely it didn't find anything, right? So I said, if this script returns an error, go to first, omit, and add. That means show me nothing. Okay, that's what it do. If I show nothing, if I found nothing, show nothing. I'm going to show you that later. If there's no problem, if this is not the case, if that's okay, then I want you to have a script. I create a variable with the script result. Okay, why I'm doing this? That's a reason, because then I can debug, and I'm going to activate this. I can debug my stuff. It's important that you give yourself all the tool you need, all the support you need in order to debug. Why? Remember my course of last week. You are performing your script on server. It's not easily debuggable. So you need to have all you can have to give you a clue about what's going on. And this is a good clue. Okay. And then when everything okay, so if it performs the find over there, returns all the list of the ID here, then I'm setting my link, my global field that I use as the primary key in that relationship here. I'm putting that all the script result there, and then I'm using the go to that record to say, okay, show me every record that match the list of ID that I put in that global. So here's the demonstration. Let's say here I'm saying Skywalker, okay? And I press return. Here, I have all the Skywalker. They're all here. And I'm surprised why it didn't show the dialogue, by the way. Anyway. Oh, I am in the wrong one. Sorry. Here, because I have two. I have two, and I want to show you two. Okay. So I did here what I've done. Let's say I want Nick, for example. Okay. I press return. So this is the result from the script. So this is all the ID that the script gave me. I set the global with this, and I say go to real records. So I have 1655, right? So it's very, very fast, If I say Santa Clara, bam, I have this, bam. So let's remove that for now, okay? And so let's say Skywalker again, bam. So locally, nothing is happening. Locally, you don't perform the find there. You don't perform the find locally. The find is on the server, okay? So in your activity here, you feel absolutely nothing, no spinning wheel and stuff like that. And by the way, I'm searching within 5,000 records. It's not a small found, right? It's not a small set, right? So this is when when you search, on the server, right, and you transfer back to the clients. Okay, so I repeat again what it's doing. So the script is going to the server, is going to the server, is going to the layout. Remember what I told you about the script on server. You need to position yourself where you need to go. Okay, so you go to the account layout, you perform a quick find. Okay, could be a perform find. You can do whatever you want here, right? Any type of thing you want to do to get your results, right? Could be another go-to record, for example. Could be many things. You can have a combination of many things interesting here when you do a search. Okay, it's not a perform quick find per se. It's not mandatory that you have this. I'm using this because it's extremely powerful demonstration why I'm using the technique here. Let's say I want to perform. Let's say here I have. I want to modify this. I don't have user, don't have status, and I have name only. Okay, I show only names on this one. Okay, on this layout. Remember, I searched for Skywalker, for example, right? And here he said nothing. He found nothing. Why found nothing? Well, I remember I asked for Santa Clara. Found nothing. But if you found Go, for example, he found one. Okay? Because I'm searching on names only. Now let's say I want to search on user. I add the user in my. I don't even have to add this in the layout. The layout is empty. I'm just you add this in the table view. That's why I'm using table view, by the way, is because it's so convenient, so easy to do. I don't need to take care of putting the field there and make sure that is green, etc. You don't care. So you go there. So now I'm adding user, right? So if I say, oh, I want Skywalker, bam, he found it, because now I can find a user. And remember, I said, okay, here I'm sending Santa Clara, and he said nothing, right? So that's why, when you type something, nothing found, it shows nothing. If this is empty, it shows everything. When you type something, if something found, it show what found. Okay. So now here I want to search back on city, for example, right? So now if I said Santa Clara, it will work. So see, it's very convenient because you are managing your search capabilities just by what's the name, showing in the table view. That works only on table view. Okay, so if you inform view, sayonara, it doesn't work. You need to be in table view. That capability, that quick find capability, with the linkage, the direct linkage of what you show here and what you can search here, happen on table view. This is a specificity. It's very interesting because, as I said, there's nothing in the layouts.
Right? Okay, so say that again, Nick. I might have missed that. So quick find, you don't want to use it on a form view or a list view because why?
Okay, that's the exact opposite. I'm using the layout. I'm using table view for doing quick find. First of all, as I said, you never ever display a table view with a crazy 5-level down relationship information and stuff like that. You don't do that. And also, what I said last week is that you don't really care to display table views on server because you don't display it. I mean, FileMaker has the ability to not even try to evaluate anything if it's not displayed. By definition, display on server doesn't exist. It doesn't display anything. So FileMaker won't take the time to display anything. For FileMaker, it will be the equivalent of this. Nothing. Okay, so that's why I'm using table views for layouts, for custodial layout to use, to land somewhere on server. You need to land somewhere and do something. You need to land in that context. Bam, I have a table view with that context, right? So the advantage of using the couple quick find and the couple quick find and the couple with couple quick find and table view is that normally we all know that quick find works if you have the field on the layout and
Yep.
if you have the this option, this
Yeah.
option on, right?
Yeah.
This is all what we know. We know that all of us know that. But because you are displaying on table view, you don't need to put the field in the layout. You just have to say, show me or don't show me here in the table view definition. When you add a field in the table view definition, you don't add the field in the layout. The layout is empty. That means you don't need to take care of dragging the field,
Okay,
make
back
sure
up.
it's
So
there.
let me ask the question. So then when you do a quick find on a table view, it will find on all the visible fields on the
On the
table view.
modify on this,
Right.
and without to be displayed on the layout. That's the point.
What
That's
if
the
what
benefit.
if you drag a field on the layout though? Because most of the time I
Oh,
have
it will search automatically, because if let's say I'm dragging a field that is not there. I drag not this one. It's a globe. Let's say I drag I don't know what I have. List 3, for example. I drag this one. Okay. Now it will do that. Why? It will search on this because this now has the lock here,
Right.
because this one is part of the layout. But the point is not to have the burden to drag and remove and put and remove and put and remove. You can manage your search automatic. And I did the demo for half an hour. I'm not going to do it again. But if you don't want to use, you don't want to search on name, you remove name and you don't search anymore. Oh, you want name? Oh, you don't want city? Oh, you want user? Oh, but you want all, city and this. You just have to do that, and your search will be
I
optimized.
missed this, Nick, when you did this, right? I mean, part of my job is to make sure that the broadcast works.
No, I mean, I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
But
I
this
mean,
is
it's,
like a subtle thing, because table views for me are always kind of like the guy who invented them and the guy who insisted upon them being there was a former VP who thought Excel was a really nice piece of software, right?
Yeah.
And we're not going to get into this person, but most of us thoroughly disagreed with what he was doing, and he was in charge of product management.
But the table view has some advantages. So at least let's take what the table view can offer and use it to our advantage. I love table view for executing quick find, right?
Yeah.
Because I can just manage my quick find by activating, deactivating this. And I don't need to care. Did I drag? Did I do that? This is activated?
Okay.
I don't.
All
So
right.
yeah. So the advantage is this too. Let's say I want Mark is able to find a department and name, but he's not able to find a user, but Peter is. So what I have, you have two layouts. One is for that level of search, and that for another level of search. So not only you don't have a crazy, insane, complicated, out of touch, out of reach scripts, okay, and you don't, and you can do very easily. Oh, if it's Peter, go to that layout. If it's Paul, go to that layout. It's very simple, right? Extremely simple. So that's the advantage of the table. So all that to say that I'm using Perform Quick Find for that reason, because most of the time you want to execute the the Perform Script on server. You want to execute that the quick find that is this this here, right? This is the quick find here. It's you want to search something very quickly, like a fair. Fair. Okay, fair. Bam. That's it. You You don't need to go and find mode and, okay, you don't need that. Okay. So before we go, I have 2 minutes, 5 minutes to show you that.
And there's also a question someone asked me that I'll
let's answer questions. If there's question.
Well, it's not a quick one. It's not a quick one. It's a bigger one. Why don't you do yours first?
Yeah. No. Because it's 2 p.m. I don't want to start something that will last like 15 minutes and do it in 5. So we have tomorrow. I have time. So let's answer the question if that's
okay.
Question.
So the question came up. I'm gonna flip to kind of a split screen here. So the question came up, and it's been bouncing around over here, and it's kind of a broader conversation. It was about, well, because you said you absolutely have to wait for completion, and the answer is it depends, right? And it's a broader issue about PSOS, right? So I'm going to go back to some training that John Thatcher put together when he was talking about this, and he said that like any new shiny toy that people get in FileMaker, like when slide panels came out, everyone said, oh, you should get rid of your tab panels and just use slide panels, and that's just as dumb as anything else that occurs, right? I mean, when you get a new tool, you use a tool for the appropriate job. It's not just like this blanket tool that you use everywhere. PSOS is like that. When you tell FileMaker Server to do something for you, the FileMaker Server has to spin up that client. It's a virtual client, but it's in software, but it has to spin it up. So it has to basically fire off a copy of FileMaker Pro that's kind of probably more or less in memory, but it has to spin it up. It has to log on to the file with the credentials that you used, right? And then it has to run the startup script. And Nick hasn't, maybe we've talked about this or not, but it has to run the startup script. And so there's this overhead. So for example, Nick's demo doesn't do a good job of really showing the benefit of the quick find, but if you have 1 million records and you're trying to do a quick find can be painfully slow. If you tell the server to do it, it will do it faster for you. Therefore, there's this performance benefit that you're going to get. But John Thatcher made it very clear to everyone to understand that you have to have a job that's worthy of PSOS, right? Not something, I understand that you understand this. I'm trying, but some of the people here don't understand this. There's overhead just for calling it. There's a delay in milliseconds just for calling. It's not instantaneous. When you call a script in FileMaker against a file that's already open, there's no delay. It doesn't have to open up the thing. It doesn't have to log in. It doesn't have to authenticate. It doesn't have to create this user session, a virtual session. It doesn't have to start writing logs and do all this stuff. There's a lot of overhead that goes on with PSOS. If you have something very simple and very lightweight, you don't need it. On the flip side, if you have something that takes 2 or 3 hours to execute on the server, that might be too big, right? Because you don't want your PSOS to, what was it, run, the tiger is running wild. That was last week's metaphor.
I covered that in the day 1 of the PSOS last week extensively. I even explained that I'm doing hybrid scripts with, like you said, go to a table, create a new record, and that is no benefit to do that on server. Now, doing 5 or 6 export import on the server, that the benefit will be huge. And I explained to many times, and I'm going to explain again, everything that lasts more than 6 seconds, I'm not doing on PSOS.
Oh, is that your rule of thumb is 6 seconds? I missed that when you said that. Is 6 seconds your rule of thumb?
My threshold is simple, and I show that in the video. When you show the console, right? You have the console showing in, you perform a script on server, and you can see the user appearing on the console user list is too long. That's it.
Yeah, because there's a delay in that. Because remember, that web interface on the server is not instantaneous, so
but
there's a delay there.
Exactly. But I'm using that delay as a chronometer, like at a gauge. I say, this is my Now there's some. Now you can have some exceptions, and they must remain exceptions. As you said, you're right on everything. You cannot launch a script for 2 hours, and you did a demo of your button that hides. When you. Because
and that was a long one. That might take 5 or 10 minutes. That was not a short one.
Exactly, but here. For example, here in that case, doing a search like this, the benefits is huge because boom, it will do, and I'm going to show you tomorrow that not only you can optimize searches in a better way on server than doing locally and stuff like that. That's a huge benefit. Tomorrow that will be the demonstration.
Cool.
Right.
Cool.
But I agree. You can't use pieces like like you said. We have a new tool. Now I'm doing everything on pieces. Like I said last week, I said, I'm doing pieces only. I said, okay, you do that. If you have 2 users, maybe you can stay alive. But if you have 15 users, forget it. Your server has 20 minutes of life expectancy, and then
yeah. Well, the PSOS has to be used selectively, like any other good tool. It's another tool in the toolbox. So, all right, folks. So that's it for today. Active conversation going on here. Francisco asked a question: can you create a copy of a layout and a layout view empty, and only perform the search? For example, can you create? Let me put this in here, Nick. Here's your. I'll let you. You don't have to do a big demo on this, but if you want to reply to this for him, try that again. Here we go. There we go. All right, so in Discord, there's his question, if you want to answer that one.
Empty only to perform search, for example. Yeah, you can have a complete empty layout and perform a search on it. A search, not a quick find. Quick find, you need something that the engine can rely on.
Right.
Or a table view or a field in the layout. Otherwise, it will search on nothing.
Yep.
Now, perform find. This one here. Perform find. It doesn't even need the field in the layout to perform. So the layout can be empty just to have the context, right? Just to be on. I'm using that technique too. Completely empty layout where there's absolutely nothing. And actually, I'm pretty much what I'm using here. I'm using a technique. Maybe you can use that. I create a nice looking kind of a dialog box, with just a message saying, okay, searching contact, right? And I'm displaying this as a card style window. There's nothing. There's just a text, a type of text, in the layout. That's it, right?
Okay.
And then I perform the find in that layout. I'm using that dialog as a support to perform the find, and then I close the window, right? So it's a neat way to use that technique too. Yeah, you can do that. Perform find, but not quick find needs a table view where you show like I just showed you, right? Or a field in the layout with the quick find activated.
Okay, one last question here. DeCinco from Twitch asked a question. I think the answer to this is no, but he says, he or she, I'm not sure who this is, can you script, which means can you dynamically program on a layout which fields are active in the table view? So can you?
Yes, you can.
You can?
Yeah.
Can you program the
active?
Remember the
table view? Yeah.
Remember in table view and you said which fields are? Yeah, do that.
Yeah. That's no problem. Is a table view is like if you do this, you go here and you click here and you go there and you say get active field content, for example.
Yeah, no, not detecting, but programming which fields are active on that table view.
Yes, because you need to. It's exactly being in form view. That's exactly the same thing.
I know, but I don't know how to do that. Wait, go back to your little window on here. Go to this window where you select the fields. You're on the table view, you select the fields. No.
Yeah, okay, I'm here, yeah. Table view, okay.
You have to, hang on.
Oh, you want to?
Yes.
No.
Yes, thank you. Right, yes, yeah, that's the problem.
No,
that's what he's thinking. You cannot dynamically program that.
No, you can't program this.
Okay.
That's why you need to have multiple layouts.
Yes. All right, but that's why we asked the question. It's good, and why we draw pictures, because I can draw pictures, and Nick understands it, and he understands the question. Simon says, blah blah blah. I used to show fear. I'm learning to showing all the bare minimum. Yeah. So once again, I think the main takeaway of this layout conversation. I mean, it's kind of a big. It's actually almost as big as understanding PSOS is this idea that when you're writing scripts and your scripts are acting against a layout, you want the layout to be as lightweight and as thin as possible. You don't want a bunch of unnecessary relationships. You don't want a bunch of images. You don't want a bunch of stuff. You want that script to be as fast as possible. One way you do that, as you work from a beginning to intermediate developer, is you have a layout that's tuned just for that script. I was calling them maintenance layouts when I showed you before, last week or whatever, but the idea is that it's a lightweight layout that doesn't have any unnecessary stuff on it. And Nick's are extremely lightweight. They're they're table views that are, I would say butt naked, just about completely naked. There's no clothing on those layouts at all, right? Is that the naked layout, Nick?
Yeah. Okay. The problem of layout is simple. We have a lot of bleep on layouts most of the time. We have triggers, and we have and the worst of the worst.
We have clothing, lots of clothing.
Yeah, we have a conditional formatting. This is the worst.
Oh yeah.
Because conditional formatting can kill yourself. Okay, so can kill you. So that's why when we do something on server, like you said, we want to optimize as much as possible. First of all, you control. You remember I told you it's a tiger that you have to maintain in leash. So you control the starter script and you stop it when you need to stop it. The starter script. Okay.
Clarice is reminding me this is the Disney Channel and not the butt naked channel. So we have to have clothing on our layouts at all times, Nick. Can't be butt naked.
So this needs to be understand. Then you need to make sure that your script on the script that you execute on PSOS is straightforward. Like, go there, do this, bam, boom. That's it. No crazy blip. So yeah. So now the script must be, and the layout where you land. If everything is optimized and on your layout you have a bunch of conditional formatting, crazy conditional formatting and stuff like that, well, you will slow down your server as well. So that's why it's very important to have a very lean and naked kind of layout.
Yep.
Right. Bare layout.
A butt naked layout.
Yeah. And by the way, that's why I love the table technique, because and Kyle is I saw on Discord, agreed with me too. So it's important to know. FileMaker server will even try to display those records. For FileMaker, this will be a blank layout. Even though I have field there, right? That's why the table view have a double-edged advantage. That means it's the leanest possible layout, that means empty, right? And in the same time, it can be used for quick find, perform find, blah, blah, blah. And even though, using copy-paste, sometimes you can use that, or you can use insert calculation, sometimes is useful and stuff like that. So, it's because sometimes there's script steps and stuff like that that needs to have the field in the layout, right? And that is a good technique too. So the table view, I agree with you. What sucks in the table view is this, the plus here and the plus on the bottom. This is terrible UI. It's terrible to but for the developing purpose. The development purpose, and when you want to clean up data, you want to do fast and clean up, and the table view is kind of great kind of for interface.
Yep.
And for the performance script on server, okay. Today for the performance script on server and the transfer of font set, the table view is a great. It's the best place to be when you do that. Right?
All right, well, it's past our time. It's time for everyone. We're going to have to put everyone down for their afternoon nap. Time for Kyle's afternoon nap. When you're a hardcore FileMaker developer, you should have lunch and then an afternoon nap, or evening nap, I guess. For some of you, we appreciate you spending time with us today. All right, well, that's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow to wrap up this conversation. Then we got 3 days of Christian Olsen with the Wolfpack. We'll have to have howling and stuff in there. That'll be awesome. So, all right, I appreciate everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
stepped up the whole way. Calm, cool, collected, the quarterback. Great read, good patience. More importantly, great job up front protecting this quarterback to give you a chance. And that's all you can ask for.
Try to rally down 10. 9:25 to go here in the fourth. Short motion by Amendola from the left. Brady takes the shotgun snap, stands in, throws it left for Amendola, reaches up and snacks a high throw and lands inside the 10, rolling to the 9. Ball slightly behind him, but Danny makes the grab.